Something happened this morning that I keep thinking about. A friend of mine, she got a wrong charge on her phone bill, and she just paid it. She didn't say a word to anyone. She told me later she didn't know how to bring it up without sounding aggressive or losing her composure.
That actually sounds familiar. More familiar than I'd like to admit, honestly. I've done that too, more than once. There's this moment where you know something's wrong, but you don't have the words, and you think, maybe it's easier to just let it go.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today, that moment. Because letting it go has a cost, doesn't it? Not just the money or the situation, there's something else it costs you.
Your confidence, I think. Every time you stay quiet when you should speak up, it gets a little harder to believe you can handle it next time. At least, that's how it feels for me.
That's a really honest way to put it. And it's true. The good news is that handling problems in English isn't about being aggressive or confrontational. It's about having a clear, calm way in. Once you have that, everything changes.
That's what I need, a way in. Because right now, my instinct is to either say nothing or say too much and come across wrong. There's no middle ground for me yet.
Let's build that middle ground then. The first thing to understand is that the opening line does most of the work. If you start calm and clear, the whole conversation tends to stay that way. If you start with frustration in your voice, even if your words are polite, people become defensive immediately.
So it's about the tone as much as the words. That makes sense. But when I'm actually in the situation, when something's gone wrong and I'm standing there trying to explain it, the tone is the first thing I lose.
Which is completely natural. The body reacts before the brain catches up. That's why having a go-to opening line matters so much. Something simple and neutral that buys you a second to breathe. Something like, I wanted to flag something I noticed, or I think there might be an issue here and I'd love your help sorting it out.
I love that second one. I'd love your help sorting it out. It already sounds collaborative rather than combative. You're not accusing anyone, you're inviting them to solve it with you.
Exactly. And that shift from accusation to invitation changes how the other person responds almost every time. They stop being defensive and start being helpful. That's what you want.
Can I ask you something? What do you do when you've already tried being calm and the person just isn't listening? Because that happens. You do everything right and the other person is dismissive or they just repeat the same unhelpful answer.
Great question. And yes, it happens. In that case, you need what I call an escalation phrase, something that raises the seriousness of the conversation without raising your voice. Try something like, I understand your position and I do need this resolved today. Or, I'd like to take this a step further if that's possible.
That's good. That's firm without being aggressive. It signals that you're not going away, but it doesn't put the other person's back up.
That's the goal. Firm, clear, and respectful. Those three things together are more powerful than volume or frustration. People in service roles respond to calm persistence far better than they respond to anger.
I have to be honest with you. Last year, a company overcharged me for 3 months in a row, and I knew it. Every month I saw it, and every month I just paid it because I didn't know how to bring it up in English without losing control of the conversation.
3 months? That's a long time to carry that. Can I ask, how did it feel? Not the money, the actual experience of knowing something was wrong and not being able to address it.
Honestly, it felt diminishing, like I was less capable than I should be. I'm confident in my own language. I handle problems there without thinking. But in English, that confidence just disappears the moment there's any kind of conflict.
What you just described is one of the most common experiences among people learning English as adults. It's not a language gap exactly, it's a confidence gap in a very specific situation. And the way you close that gap is by practicing the exact phrases before you need them, not in the moment, before.
Rehearsing them so they're there when you need them.
Exactly. Let's go through a few more. When something has gone wrong and you need to explain it clearly, try this. You might say, I've noticed a discrepancy and I want to make sure I understand it correctly. That phrase does two things. It's precise and it's non-threatening.
I've noticed a discrepancy. That sounds measured. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. I think part of my problem is that when I don't have the right word, I start sounding uncertain, and then the whole conversation tilts against me.
And the other person can feel that uncertainty. That's the hard truth. When you sound unsure, people sometimes take advantage of that. Not always intentionally, but it happens. Having precise vocabulary keeps you in control of the conversation.
What about apologies? Sometimes the problem is something I've done wrong. What's the right way to acknowledge a mistake without completely losing your position?
This one's really important. A lot of people over-apologize, and it weakens everything they say after. The better approach is a clean, specific acknowledgement. Something like, I realize I missed that deadline and I want to fix it. Or, I should have checked that earlier and here's what I'd like to do now. You're taking responsibility clearly without letting the apology swallow the whole conversation.
That's a completely different energy from I'm so sorry, which is usually what I do. And then I feel like I've already lost before we've even started solving anything.
You've named it perfectly. Over-apologizing signals that you don't believe you deserve to be in the conversation. A clean acknowledgement says, I made a mistake and I'm still here. I'm still capable and I'm going to fix this.
That's a mindset shift as much as a language shift, isn't it?
The two are connected. The language you use shapes how you feel mid-conversation. When you use strong, clear phrases, your confidence follows. It works the other way around, too. Weak, hesitant language shrinks you even if you started feeling confident.
I want to try something. Can we do a quick role play? You be the customer service person, and I'll try to handle a complaint. I want to see if I can actually use some of these phrases in the moment.
I love that you suggested that. Let's do it. I'll be the service desk. You've received an incorrect charge on your account. Go whenever you're ready.
Hi there. I wanted to flag something I noticed on my last statement. There's a charge here that I don't recognize, and I'd love your help sorting it out.
Of course. Can you tell me a little more about the charge?
It looks like I've been billed twice for the same service. I've noticed a discrepancy between what I agreed to and what appears on the statement. I'd like to get that corrected today, if possible.
I can see why you'd want that resolved. Let me look into it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And scene. Marcus, that was genuinely impressive. You used 3 of the phrases we talked about, you kept your tone completely calm, and you were specific without being aggressive. That was real progress.
That felt different. Having the phrases there made me feel like I had something solid to stand on. I wasn't scrambling for words. I actually felt present in the conversation.
That feeling of being present, that's what fluency actually is. It's not perfect grammar, it's being in the conversation fully, and you were just there.
I keep thinking about those 3 months. If I'd had these phrases then, I would have made that call. I genuinely would have.
You have them now, and next time something goes wrong, and something always does eventually, you'll know exactly how to walk in, calm, clear, and ready.
That's the goal. Calm, clear, and ready. I'm writing that down.